while.
A lot of people, they think of hat acts and they think of very big hair when they think of country, but there's also this other side, this rural side that has the string band music. And then there were also black people in the country that were either listening to it, and then early on they were playing it too. And so that's something that our group has been about. It's just opening the field up so that anybody can feel free to play this music and not feel that they're not a part of it or they're excluded.
You guys have a new album that just came out, Leaving Eden. The lead single is Country Girl, right? And you wrote that song. So tell me a little bit about the lyrics.
It's just pieces of my childhood growing up, not only in the South, but also, you know, I spent a lot of time in the country with my grandparents, and they were of both races. I had black grandparents and white grandparents. So it's like, it really is sort of the universal experience for a lot of country living in the South. So I just started thinking about what childhood in the South and in the country meant to me, and so all of the pieces in the song are Silver Queen corn and sweet potato pies. All of that is from sort of my feelings of growing up there.
I was raised in the country, that's a natural fact. Food on the table from the garden out back. Everyone working to make the land their own. Red clay cracking where the Silver Queen grows. Running with your cousins from yard to yard. The living was easy, but the playing was hard. Didn't have much, nothing comes for free. All you needed was your family.
Do you feel like you're trying to reclaim what is, the black part of American traditional music?
We just like to play it.
Yeah.
I think it's really just exposing a new generation, and I don't mean new generation like our age. I mean new generation, my grandparents' age. I mean, like a whole swath of people who haven't either heard this music in a long time or haven't ever heard it or don't know the history of it, and like, both of us, neither of us knew that the banjo was an African-American instrument, growing up.
Well, for the people who don't know, why don't you tell them a little bit about the banjo, the history of the banjo?
It was for the first 100 years known as only a black instrument. I mean, everybody knew only slaves or free people of color played that instrument. And then around the early to mid 1800s, white performers started picking it up. The only problem is that they were doing it in blackface.
There was a lot of racial humor in America all from the beginning, but it happened to be the Negro combined with the clown happened to become like, it became the thing, and it took it to a whole nother level. And then after the Civil War, once the Emancipation Proclamation came in and then the slaves were more or less free, it took it up a whole other notch with all of the heavy emotions around freeing the slaves and all of the conflicts that were there within the country. And then black people started doing blackface too, on top of that. But
then that turned into it was like for us, by us kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So it's really, there's so many different segments. It's an incredibly complex thing, and to just sort of go, oh, it all sucked, throw it away. I mean, it's just so problematic. And so, because it's such a hot button topic, I mean, minstrelsy was like a huge form of entertainment for like 80 years in America. So that's a long time.
Yeah.
So if you kind of don't want to touch that, you're missing out on a whole bunch of stuff.
I went down the alley trying to sell my coat today. I went down in the alley trying to sell my coat today. When a woman come out and hollered, scared my mule away. She had the boodly bomb bomb, she had the boodly bomb bomb, she had the boodly bomb, boodly bomb, boodly bomb bomb.
The Black Banjo Gathering was one of the first major events on the Black and African roots of the banjo in 2005, and that was how Rhiannon and I met. We met at this particular event.
We're all kind of like toiling away going, oh, the only one in the world who plays this music, And then we all got to clap eyes on each other and go, hey, there is a movement going on, and we made a band.
So at the Black Banjo Gathering, you guys met your mentor, Joe Thompson. What was the early time of working with him like?
We drive up and then, go into the living room, and his wife would always bring a tray of waters and
lemon flavored bottled water,
and almost doubled over by the tray, And then we'd just sit around, and they would always have the thermostat cranked up to like 120. I swear to God, and we'd be like, we'd be so hot, but it was just like, we can do this, and we'd just be playing all of his tunes because he was 86.
He had a special way of doing the thermostat, because he just would put his finger right to the wall and then just swipe it, and that'd be his setting. You see?
Don't got a rambling mind, 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 don't jump the fence, gone on down the line.
Tell me a little bit more about Joe's background playing the fiddle.
He said he started when he was about 5 or 6.
It changed.
After a certain
when he was very small.
Yeah, when he was very young, yeah, because at one point he was like 5, 6, 8, 9, 12 years old. I started playing. It was like, oh, okay. But when he was a very young boy, his father and his uncle, they played the banjo and the fiddle, and then Joe took it on after that.
Yeah, it's basically as soon as he and his brother got good enough to play, they got past the dance band, and so they became the dance band. And people all over Mebane remember the Thompson family band.
Yeah.
You know, they played for the white and the black square dances. I mean, they played for everybody, and it was a real family tradition.
So you both came to the banjo gathering from very different paths. You came from Arizona, but you grew up in North Carolina. So tell me a little bit more about how you ended up there.
Oh, well, I was playing 4-string banjo. I was making up a style in Phoenix because I didn't really know any better. So I was making that up and playing guitar, and I learned the jug as well. I was, busking out on the streets, and so I came as one of the young people that was involved in the music, just as a guest, and I performed a little bit, but mostly just to soak in the energy, and then it did its job, because I moved out to North Carolina very quickly after.
And how about you? How did you end up at the gathering?
I grew up singing sort of folk revival stuff, but then I went to Oberlin Conservatory for opera, and then kind of burned out on that a bit, and started really getting into Celtic music that I got in through my experiences singing for powwow drum in high school. It's a long story. And really just interested in getting really interested in roots music, music of the folk before sort of, before it gets so commercialized. And so I started getting into the banjo through going to contra dances and going, oh, this is like awesome music, hearing old time music. And then when I started learning about the banjo, that's when I was like, oh, this is, we did that, what? And that was it. I was totally hooked.
You may wonder what's the reason for this great big smile. Say I haven't been so happy for the longest while. Got a big load off my mind. Here's